You were made for living well. This is episode number 226.
This is the Made for Living Well podcast, hosted by Alexa Sherm, the place to create a life well lived.
Welcome back to today's show. This is the Made for Living Well podcast, and that is exactly what I believe. That you were made and designed for living well. That this is not something that you have to try to achieve or work for, but it's inside of you. And today, I'm going to share more of my vision with Made for Living Well right here as we enter into the very first podcast of many more to come, helping you to live well as your intended design, which is exactly what I believe. That we were made for living well. That health is not some foreign thing that we have to work tirelessly and endlessly trying to achieve, but health is inside of all of us. Now, I know that might sound crazy because you might look at yourself and think, no, I'm not healthy right now. I wish I were, but I'm not. And it might seem like it's an absurd thought. But the truth of the matter is that your body is daily working to live healthy. Yes, that might be currently in survival mode, which we're going to talk a lot more about on this podcast. But every day, your body is doing the best that it can with what it has to provide you the energy to go out and live your life. Now, of course, what we do matters to that, but what matters more than what we do to our body is how our body responds to what we do. Let me say that another way. It's less about what you do to your body, and it's more about what your body does with what it's provided. And what your body does with what it's provided is simply based on if your body feels safe and alive, if you feel energized, if your body is living with purpose, or if it feels like you're fighting against it, which is what Common Health has taught us to do. Outwork our body or outsmart our body or whatever we think we can do to try and achieve the weight loss that we want to see, to achieve the energy level that we want to see, to fix our hormones. It's always this message that our body is the villain and you need to come in and rescue yourself. But as I was thinking about this and studying this the last few years, I really started to question, how can the very thing we want to fix be the villain and also the victim? Like, how can it be both things, right? Like, we can't fight against the very thing we want to change. Otherwise, we'll never change. Which led me to believe maybe that's what we're doing. Maybe that's why health has been so difficult, because we're left chasing something that isn't actually there. And we're missing what has been there all along. And that is the fact that you were designed in health for health. Which leads me to believe that we need to go back to the beginning and actually define health. I've been working on another project, and as I was trying to define health, I of course went back to what is health defined as? And I even started looking in the research of what have we as scientists, as people who are studying the human body, defined to be healthy. Wildly, there is relatively little information out there working to define health. In fact, there's less than 20 articles on PubMed alone trying to define health, and most of it states that we need a definition of health, but few actually go in to determine how we could start to classify or define it. You know, it's this idea that, that's probably a great idea, but we're not going to touch how to actually define that because we're not really sure what that looks like. Which is mind-boggling to me because in my head, I think, how have we been a people who have been chasing health for 50 plus years, right? Trying to find it. Over 500 million people in a lifetime will try to achieve health or in some level lose weight in order to achieve health, but yet it's been relatively undefined. Meaning, how do we know where we're supposed to run if there's no definition of where that leads? I think that really sums up what's happened in the health space, right? We're all trying to chase and work and put effort and energy into something, but at the end of the day, are we even really sure where that something is leading? Which makes us circle back around to the same story 100 times over, which elevates the frustration and the overwhelm and the chaos of the health space 100-fold. So I want you to take a breath of fresh air, and I want you to realize that maybe you're not at fault for the reason that you've never achieved what you believe or what you envision to be health in the first place. Maybe the fault is just having a lack of definition or a lack of understanding of what that even means to begin with. And what could change if we could start off this year with the right definition of health, with something that you can actively achieve in your everyday? Of course, it's going to come with work. Of course, it's going to come with boundaries. Of course, it's going to come with being disciplined. But just having a vision that can be achieved, that can be experienced in your everyday, changes your desire. Meaning, what if health was no longer some big stress in your life that you feel like you have to do, but you hate every ounce of it, and instead become the very means of you living a life? Like it became the epitome of living a healthy, abundant, well-lived life, which is what health was intended for all along. And that's why I'm so excited for this, because if I want nothing else in this new podcast and over at the new website, which is thelivingwell.com, I want you to believe that health is inside of you. And what you need more than another system telling you how to achieve it is to start to see it for yourself, to create some awareness of what that means and how you can experience that in your everyday life. Because if health is truly inside of you, that it's not a matter of trying to beat your body into submission, but trying to understand how you can unleash that health within. How you can work with your body instead of against it, creating harmony and the centeredness and ultimately energy that allows you to live your best life and, more importantly, to live a life on purpose. And get this, if we can help you, if I can help you to believe that, just for a moment, to believe that health is inside of you, then it becomes less about what you have to do and more about living true to who you actually are. All of these things you thought you needed to do for health that consumed your time and added to your stress level and added to the chaos of your already consuming life, those became things that you did not to achieve some feeling that you are, but out of already feeling what it is that you desire. And when you start to do things out of already feeling that way, out of having the energy, it completely changes how your mind perceives them, taking what was once a threat, like meal planning or working out, and it becomes something you crave on the other side. Because as humans, and as we see inside of our body, what our body is looking for is energy and an abundance of energy, which you actually all have. It's just how you channel that energy. So that's what we're going to be talking here. And I'm so pumped for this message because I think it is so needed in the health space to put to rest once and for all that your body is the villain, because it is absolutely not that at all. In fact, your body is one of your greatest tools. And yes, you might not like every aspect of it. And it's certainly to say that just because you start to accept and love your body doesn't mean that you then have to stop looking for change. No, health is about becoming a better version of yourself every day, of living open and becoming healthier and really mobilizing that energy inside of your body so you can actively live out of your best self. So it's not to say that, no, we can't experience weight loss or we shouldn't desire that, right? We get stuck in that, in this like body love movement that we have and this intuitive eating. No, you can desire all of those things. But on the flip side, weight loss isn't just going to come from being super strict and restrictive and starving your body or beating it into submission like so many people do. It's truly a balance of both, of living intuitively, filling your body with energy, but really at the end of the day, being more focused on how your body responds to life, responds to the environment you provide, responds to the food that you feed it, responds to the movement that you choose to do, rather than just forcing your body to do it, believing an outcome will be achieved. No, it's all about how you feel, and how you feel leads to the outcome that you desire. Okay, you're probably like, okay, she's speaking in riddles right now. Let's just break this down a little bit more, because this message really, really matters. And I think it sets up the entire scope of where we're moving with the Living Well and here at the podcast, Made for Living Well. if we go back to the definition of health and we understand that, okay, health is relatively undefined and that lack of definition is actually creating a lack of focus or a lack of direction for how we should move our life. And it's important then to come back and define that, which I hope this podcast will help us create some kind of definition or help you personally create a definition of what health means to you. But there's a few things that we need to know about health that are maybe different than what we've been led to believe. One is health is not a noun. It's not a destination. It's not an arrival. It's an action. Health is a living. It's a process of who you are. It's never about an arrival. Now, I know that in the health space, we've currently led people to believe that health is going to be found in a number, right? It's whether that's a number on your blood panels, like lowering your cholesterol or getting your blood sugar right, or changing the number on the scale or fitting into a smaller size jeans. We have these quantitative measurements of what we feel like health is. And I think that's where most of us have probably picked up a definition of health around something that can be measurable, something that can be calculated, and something that we can achieve. Which I'm not saying those things can't bring health or bring a vision of health or create health in your life or are a picture of what it means to live healthy. But health is truly never a destination, because what I find is so many people and what I found so many times is that just because someone hit that number doesn't mean that they feel any differently than they did when they started. And when we don't start to feel differently, when we can't experience that, it doesn't have as much meaning or grasp on our life. So let me explain it this way, right? Just because you've achieved a number on the scale doesn't actually mean you've helped your body to feel healthy or to live healthy. A lot of people can lose weight and you can drop to a relatively low weight, but on the inside, your body is still screaming that something is wrong. Can you achieve health by losing weight? I mean, absolutely. All of that stuff matters. But I think focusing solely on the fact that health is found in a destination leaves so much disassociation with what it's actively doing inside of your body. Focusing on the destination as if that's going to fix all of your problem creates this span or this gap between where you are and where you think you need to go. And that gap gets filled with all kinds of crazy negative emotions like frustration and chaos and confusion and envy and bitterness. And really, it's exhausting because you see where you are, but you see where you need to go, and life feels too chaotic and overwhelming to actively achieve that. That's why we tend to wait for the perfect time. We tend to start again on Monday when we mess up, right? It becomes this all or nothing mindset that you feel like you need to achieve in order to reach a certain destination. But that destination never guarantees health. It just doesn't. Because health is not found in a destination, it's found in an action. It's found in what you do. And that's truly what health is. So I want to help break down that thought process here at Made for Living Well, that health is going to be achieved and that we just need to do our best and follow all these guidelines and rules and programs in order to achieve that. Because the reality is that does not work. 99.9% of all diets fail long-term because of that mindset, that it's too far outside of who we actually are. It takes the focus away from our body and puts it on something completely outside of ourselves. But we can't get healthy if we don't know what it means to be healthy for me or what it's actively doing inside of your body. Let me give you another example, right? A common thought is just consume less calories than you burn, right? Burn more, eat less. That is a really common, really well-studied health practice. The problem is it doesn't work, which leads a lot of people to question, why in the world does it not work when it should work, right? It's been researched to work. It's been studied to work. If people just did it, it would work. But if it were as simple as a simple equation, we would be a nation of thin, healthy people, right? It's not that simple, because just because you do to your body doesn't mean your body's going to do with it what you want. And again, it comes back to what is your body doing with what you provide it? And part of that comes from perspective, it comes from belief, but it comes from a lot of internal things. Which means if health is a destination and you start to dissociate health outside of yourself, how can you get healthy living outside of yourself when health comes from within? So really, what it means to get healthy is finding action, doing something that fills your body up. Not being so focused on the fix, on what you think it is, that you miss the solution to what it is that you're after, which is ultimately a feeling of health. It's a feeling of being energized. It's a feeling of having the brain capacity to do all the things that you want to do. It's a feeling of vibrancy. It's a feeling of happiness. It's a feeling of joy. You want a feeling. And when I can help you start to focus on the internal aspect of what it is that you want to feel, you're not as confined by how life is going. Which, if there's anything we've learned in this past year, in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of 2020, it's that life doesn't always go as planned. And if we wait for life to go as planned, we're going to be waiting a long time to achieve what is already inside of us. Like we're working against the grain. We're working outside of our design, and you're going to be chasing something that really is not there to be found because it's already inside of you. And so I don't want you to be confined by the ways of the world. I don't want you to be confined by how life is going, because that is not the purpose of health. The purpose of health is to help you live life regardless of what's happening in our environment, to help you live abundantly regardless of how crazy life is around you. It's not waiting for the perfect moment and believing that health can only be achieved when life slows down or becomes easier is one of the biggest lies of the health space and one of the biggest lies internally in our brain. Health is to be used in the craziest of times, giving you life to get through it, giving you the strength and energy to get through whatever comes your way. And the good times, it just becomes easier. But I don't want you to be confined by what life brings you, but allow you and show you how you can live out health every single day. So again, 1, health is not a destination. It's not a noun. It's a verb. It's daily action. Which brings me to number 2. Health is the intended design of the body. It's how our bodies were created. Ultimately, our bodies are always working to achieve health. Now, I kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but sometimes this doesn't always look like what you want it to, right? It's not just a matter of like always feeling good, because we think if our body is always for health, then we should always just be at a healthy weight, or we should always have the energy and no brain fog or no symptoms of disease, right? Like, why, if our body was intended for health, do we get sick? And the reality is that we get sick when our body feels too threatened, when it gets too beat down and run down. Ultimately, your body was intended for health, but more than health, it's survival. And yes, survival is a form of health inside your body because it keeps you alive. But survival and the symptoms of survival are much different than what we perceive to be healthy. But if we can believe for a moment that health was intended, it's the intended design, then we can start to understand that our body only enters into survival. Our body only starts to showcase disease and all the symptoms that you hate, like weight gain or the inability to lose weight, when it feels threatened and unsafe. And if we can start to see that if our body isn't responding the way that we want it to, we can take a deeper dive and understand why. Why isn't it? And it's not going to be found on outside, like in these outside things of these diets just telling you because you need more willpower, or because you need to let go of a macronutrient, or just give up this food and that will help. No, that doesn't help unless we identify what our body is missing and why it feels threatened and unsafe, and start to provide the safety and security it needs to channel energy in a healthy direction, helping you live vibrant, helping you to let go of those stored energy and really live your intended design. So again, 1, Health is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action, it's what you do daily, not a destination you achieve. And number 2, health is the intended design. It is constantly working to bring you life, and we just have to get it to a space allowing you to thrive, not survive. And the good news is this can all be done regardless of whatever situation life has you in. Because we can no longer define health by a perfect environment or the right situation or a metric in your bank account. Health is not for the privileged. Health is not for people who have it all figured out. Health is for everyone. It's the intended design, and that is exactly what I want to help you do. So what does it mean to be healthy to you? Well, that's defined by you. And so I have a little activity that I want you to do to start this all off. Whether you have time now or you can grab a piece of paper later, I want you in the middle of a sheet of paper to write healthy me and just circle it. And then off of that, I want you to write things that you define or envision as a healthy you. Now remember, health is not a noun, it's not a destination. So don't write things like, I'll be healthy when I get to a size 10 jean or a size 8 jeans, or I'll be healthy when I could run a 5K. No, I want you to write down actions. A healthy me looks like moving my body every day, drinking more water, giving up caffeine, eating more fruits and vegetables, getting 8 hours of sleep a night, filling my mind with positive things, enjoying slow Saturday mornings. I don't know what it is for you. I'm kind of reaching for these things, but write down what it is that you envision health in you. What gives you life? What gives you energy? That is what is going to create a healthy you. Could it be that you still want to lose weight? Absolutely. And it's not to say that those things won't happen if you don't write them down. In fact, they're more likely to happen when you actively fill your body and you create a space that allows your body to release what it doesn't need. But whenever our body is feeling threatened, when it feels like it's being pushed or overworked, or when it feels an excess amount of stress, it tells your body to conserve, to store, hoard, and hold on to as much energy as you can, channeling it into a direction that looks or perceives as unhealthy to you, like extra pounds. And I'm not saying that is healthy at all. I think that's all something we should strive for, is to live at a healthy weight. But our body doesn't do that to fight against you. It does that out of protection for you. And so the answer to health is not about pushing it or about channeling all of your energy into a direction of trying to micromanage your diet and eliminate a macronutrient and really just trying to force your body to do what it wants. Unfortunately, we often miss what will work living at the mercy and being consumed by our problems. I don't want you to miss what will work, and that is filling your body with energy, an active process of daily living out of what gives you more energy, what fills your body up. Because it's in the filling, it's in how you feel that changes the entire outcome of how your body responds. Remember, it's not just a matter of what we do to our body, because you could do all of the right things, and perhaps you have, and you still haven't seen the results on the other side. Why? And if you've been there, you've probably asked this big question. I have literally done everything right. I have eaten the best diet, I move my body, and yet here I am, still questioning, why in the world can I not lose a pound? Let me bring this back full circle, because it's not just a matter of what you do to your body, it's how your body responds to what you provide it. What your body does with it is way more important than what you do. Of course, what you do matters, but it is only going to change when your body feels safe and when it feels vibrant and when it feels like it has that abundance of energy in order to do good things with what you provide it. So really, health at the end of the day is creating a safe space, an environment of thriving. It's a coming home. It's like an awakening to understand that health is inside of you. Now, rather than trying to find how to live that outside of yourself, we just have to come back and figure out, no, what is it going to take to make me feel energized? What are the things in my life that make me feel good? What are the things in my life that don't make me feel good? Because you could be doing all the right diet things, right? All the well-researched diet things, but if it's not making you feel good, is it good? Or is it just having the opposite effect that you want? It has to come back to what is going to fill you, which is really the message here at Made for Living Well. So many times in the health space, we're so fixated on the problem. We're so consumed by the problem that we go in search of an outside fix to that. We go and think that the weight like this next diet program is going to be the next best solution, or if I can just work out more, or if I can just give up carbohydrates, that will fix my problems. But as soon as we pick up this notion that we have problems that need to be fixed and we start just looking for the solution, we keep our mind fixated on the problem. And if our mind is constantly fixated on the problem becomes bigger because where we focus is what we provide energy to. Energy keeps our mind focused and focus takes energy. And so the problems tend to get bigger and bigger and bigger, which leaves us circling in the same vicious cycle over and over, which is the same vicious cycle so many people see in the health space. Why can we do all the right things and nothing works? I want to answer that question and help you not just work to achieve health, put to work because you already are healthy, and that completely changes the game. So it's not about just fixing yourself, because fixing yourself keeps you focused on the problem. What I want to help you do is to start to see the solution, to put your energy not into the problem, but into the solution. And the solution always comes from a filling. It always comes from learning how to fill your body with energy, because the epitome of health inside of your body is how your body is channeling the energy that it has. Whether it's open and it's free and there's an abundance and it's healing, or whether it's closed off into the store, hoard, and conserve mentality that keeps us stuck and, in some cases, sick. So again, we're going to come back to this message over and over and over again. How can you fill yourself? Because it's in the filling that you're going to find health. It's not in the fixing. And those are two completely different battles. So Made for Living Well is going to be the space and the place to get filled, to learn what gives you energy, enhancing your time and allowing you to live with more joy. Because health was created inside of you to help you actively live your life. Not wait to live until you achieve health, but to use health to live life right now. So it's time to stop waiting, and this is going to be your space to create a lifestyle of living, because that's what it means to live healthy. No more waiting, just living in health. Making health a response to life and how you actively live that out. Which I hope all of that pumps you up, because health is in you. Like, health is already there. Now, instead of finding health, you get the privilege of unleashing that health inside of you. And that is what I want to help you do. In the next podcast, you're going to start learning how to unleash health, how to actively live that out right here, right now, regardless of what you see on the quantitative measurements you want, like the scale or the number on the genes. Can you achieve those things? Absolutely. But the focus cannot be on the destination, but in the action. And next week, we're going to start talking about how you change your focus from the destination to the action and actively start to feel differently and experience health in the everyday. I'm so pumped for this lesson. So you're going to want to stay tuned. Come back to the next podcast where you're going to start to learn that you're just searching for a feeling and how to actively live out of that feeling. And then we're going to jump into the macronutrient debate, and we're going to start really getting into the nitty-gritty. But more than anything, here at Made for Living Well, I want you to weekly and daily learn how to fill yourself up, how to leave filled. That is my goal, and that is my intent here. So every single week, you can expect a new podcast to drop on Monday morning where you can fill yourself up for the week ahead. These are going to be shorter shows, unless it's an interview, which we're still going to do some interviews with some amazing guests. Those might be a little bit longer, but these shows are just quick little weekly tips to help you leave filled. So thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out the new space over at thelivingwell.com. Learn all about what we're doing. Check out some of the latest articles. There's some classes that went live and new products that are there and designed to help you create a lifestyle of living. because we're done waiting and we're done planning to live later on. Today, you're going to make the active choice of what is one thing I can do today that is going to help me live with more energy, that is going to fill me up and give me that drive and that desire to go out and live my purpose. Just one thing. It could be a quick walk around the neighborhood. It could be calling a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. It could be taking a hot bath tonight before bed, or just going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Whatever it is your body needs, I want you to start paying attention and choosing to fill it, to work with your body instead of against it. I'm so pumped you're here. I'm thrilled. And there's just one more thing that I ask of you. If you wouldn't mind, given that this is a new show, I would love for you to leave a rating and review. Now, I know you get asked all the time to do this, but these are literally the lifeblood of the show. This is what makes it go around and helps other people who wouldn't otherwise hear about the show learn about it, find it, and start listening and joining this community of like-minded people. So if you wouldn't mind, head on over to thelivingwell.com/review and drop in a 5-star rating and a little write-up of why you're loving the show. If you need a few more episodes to understand why you love the show, take a few listen and then drop that review. If you leave a review, send me a screenshot of it to me at alexa@thelivingwell.com. We will send you a free gift for leaving that review. Head on over, leave a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Shoot me a screenshot of that review and I'll give you a free gift because it really does mean the world to me and I want to do this for you. Okay, that's it. Come back in the next episode where we're going to be talking about what you want more than a destination is actually a feeling. And understanding this lesson really changes the game. So stay tuned. Things are heating up. But for now, what's one thing you can do today to live filled?